What's up, guys? I'm Mike D'Antonio, founder and CEO of StockedUp. Welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have an awesome episode for you guys here today. There wasn't too much news over the weekend. However, we do have a huge earnings week ahead. We have a ton of really big companies reporting earnings this week, and there will definitely be a lot of opportunity from that. One, playing those individual stocks, kind of like how Netflix had a big day on earnings on Friday, right? They fell about 6.5% from close, but they were down as much as 12% in after hours. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity playing individual stocks this week, as well as playing the market overall, because earnings season typically brings a lot of volatility into the markets, and that is amazing for options traders or even stock traders too. So there should be a lot of opportunity with this week, given it is earnings season, and we do have some news with the coronavirus and other momentum plays. So with that being said, if you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe to see our daily videos on your YouTube homepage every single day. If you guys gain value from this video, please consider hitting that like button, and now we're going to get right into it. So, Tom, what major news happened over the weekend?
Yeah, the first thing I'll get into is that the U.S. reported more than 70,000 new coronavirus cases for the second day in a row as of Saturday, and new cases are increasing in nearly all 50 states. That's some bad news to hear, and I've seen a lot of articles coming out with a lot of analysts saying that this is their major concern right now, for them having the markets going down this week. And also just the whole tech sector. We saw Netflix have a big fall, and that's going to be the biggest thing this week, is seeing how the tech sector does, because that's really what propped up the market during the pandemic. So really just the cases mounted onto the earnings is going to be the biggest stuff to look for this week. But those 70,000 cases for the second day in a row, that's huge numbers. And if those continue, I think a lot of states will start shutting down again.
Yeah, so I do know that they are doing more testing. I know that's a big, a big detail to keep in mind too. But regardless, if these cases continue to explode, like Tom just said, there is a good chance that these states start to pause the reopening phases, or reverse, or revert back to an earlier phase. And if they start to shut down the economy again, if these states start to shut down their economies again, that will be a horrible catalyst for the market, and that would most likely make the market fall. However, there hasn't been too many updates regarding states reclosing again, so I don't think that's a big threat right now. But just keep that in the back of your mind. Look out for it. Hey, if economies start to close down again, that would affect the market in a really bad way. So yeah, Netflix took a beating. You said fell out 12 to 14% in after hours, but we do have a lot of new earnings coming up this week. And on a lot of these companies, especially these tech companies, I'm kind of expecting the same movement similar to Netflix. That does not mean I think that these companies are going to fall in earnings. However, what it does mean is with Netflix, real quick, so Netflix fell 6.5% on Friday. The call options for Netflix, the call options that expire on July 24th, those call options fell anywhere from 60% to 95% in value. The put options on Netflix, even though Netflix fell 6.5%, the put options, a lot of them lost 10% to 80% of their value. So the only ones that really gained value are the ones that were deep in the money. But either way, with earnings, you have to be very careful playing earnings, because you could lose money even if you pick the right direction. So Tom, if you could go back to that chart real quick, I'm kind of expecting the same thing with all of these tech earnings plays. So with Microsoft, Tesla, Twitter, Intel, things like that, I'm kind of expecting them to either go up a little bit or down just a little bit on earnings. I'm not expecting any of them to just explode up on earnings. That's just my prediction though, and I'll probably end up doing some call credit spreads because of that. So what are your thoughts on earnings this week?
Yeah, a couple of stocks that I'm really looking at for earnings are going to be iRobot. I've really been eyeing them for a long-term position for a while. I really like what their company does with the self-cleaning and stuff like that with the Roombas. And I also think that AT&T could also have a very good earnings, as a lot of people, are needing more cellular service right now. And I think a lot more people are going to be having plans or contracts, I guess, created with AT&T to where they're going to get like cell phones and then pay monthly on them and stuff. I think that's going to help AT&T out right now. But with all these other tech stocks like Intel and Twitter, and Microsoft and Tesla, I think that they're definitely going to go down along with the overall market. I think the overall market will not have a good earnings. That a lot of people have said that whenever the second quarter earnings are going to come out, it's gonna show a lot more. It's going to show the effects of the virus a lot more than the earnings did the last time we reported, because the last time we reported, we were so close to the beginning of the pandemic that the pandemic hadn't really dipped into the earnings too much yet. This earnings report should be a lot more revealing of how the pandemic affected these companies.
Exactly. So I couldn't have said that better myself. Guys, keep in mind, the last time all these companies reported earnings, when they reported earnings, the pandemic was only going on for half the quarter. So this second quarter earnings, which we're going to see this week, all of these stocks, it's going to show the true effects of the pandemic on these stocks. So keep that in mind. Some big companies reporting this week are Snapchat, Coca-Cola, Tesla, Microsoft, NASDAQ, Twitter, AT&T, Intel, Southwest, Discover, Verizon, American Express. Those are just a couple. Of course, you guys can see them all right here. But another thing, too, is so before we get into that, Tom, I want to show everyone a chart of the S&P 500. And on the S&P 500, we've had a pretty nice recovery. But on the NASDAQ, so the QQQ, we had an even better recovery. And pretty much the reason for this is because the tech sector really lifted the market up. So this week, with Apple, Netflix, Amazon, Google, and especially Microsoft, this is the first time in multiple weeks. This is the first time, especially since the beginning of March. Since the beginning of March, that we actually saw the tech sector down. So Microsoft finished pretty down this week, and even other tech stocks too, like Apple, Amazon, and of course Netflix. So I think this can definitely signal some downwards movement in the market, because the tech sector has really been leading the way for the market, and to see it down, it could only make you think that the market is ready for a little dip. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. I really think that the S&P 500 on a daily level, it needs to break some of these key things for it to go down. Some of these key technicals I've drawn here, and once it does break these technicals, I could just see it, falling very significantly, maybe back down to the 3,000 levels again potentially. We're pretty close to them now. It looks like the 3,000 level is about what we dipped to a couple weeks ago, and I think we could definitely hit that again if all these tech stocks start falling down. So that's just a level you guys could look out for. I think that would be around $300 on the SPY.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing too is we had some crazy momentum with stocks like AZN, Moderna. Those two stocks really exploded this week. Moderna had the vaccine news last week, which really made it pop. But AZN really exploded too. They're kind of in the same boat. I know they had some Russia news too. It's Russia took a pretty big stake in them. They invested pretty big into AZN. They're also they're in the vaccine race. So keep an eye on definitely AZN, mRNA, and Gilead, GILD. All of these stocks are working in the vaccine sector type thing for the COVID outbreak. So keep that in mind. And then, so do you have any input on any of these stocks, Tom, or are we ready to get into the momentum plays?
I think we're ready for the momentum plays, but were we going to go over this map really quick?
Oh, yeah. Yep, good catch. So, guys, this is pretty much a map of pretty much all of these stocks and their weekly performance. So you can see how, we just said, the tech sector is rotating. So normally we see stocks like Google, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, and Apple leading the way up 4 or 5%. But look at it this week. We have Microsoft down 5%, Amazon down 7.5%, Facebook down 1.25%, Google down 1.5%, Apple pretty much flat, up about 0.5%. So it's very unusual to see this, and this can definitely signal a fall or a rotation in the market, because we saw a lot of other sectors up, especially the healthcare sector. We saw Johnson & Johnson up 5% this week, PFE up big, BMY, all these stocks, all these healthcare stocks up pretty big. ABT was up pretty big too. So keep an eye on that. We are seeing a small rotation from tech to healthcare. All right. So now with today's member of the day. So today's member of the day is Ayrton. So Ayrton is probably one of the most positive members of the Discord community, very generous and a very positive person. So I just want to give him a quick little shout out real quick. Ayrton's is an amazing person. I'm very happy to have him in the Discord chat. So now for today's momentum plays. And the first one, as you guys can probably already guess, is AZN. So AZN had a crazy day in the market overall last week, but especially on Friday. So we're definitely looking to capitalize off of this upwards momentum. Tom, what levels should we be watching?
Watch for this one to go ahead and break 64.50.
All right. So if it breaks above 64.50, we'll be looking at AZN to the upside. With the next stock, we have mRNA. Pretty much the same setup.
Yep. Watch for Moderna to go ahead and break 95.50.
95.50 again to the upside. And then we have TWLO.
Yep. TWLO. Go ahead and watch for them to break above 239.
Yep. And
actually
then,
do 240.
240. All right. 240 yep. Again to the upside. Then we have NIO, and this one is to the downside.
Yeah. Watch for NIO to pop below. Just watch for it to fall below 1046.
Yep, 1046 to the downside. If it breaks below that, we'll be looking at NIO in a bearish sense. And last but not least, we have NKLA. Again,
yeah, NKLA, the Tesla competitors, all the way down to $38. Yeah, so just watch for them to fall below 38.
That is a huge gap down.
I can't believe that they gapped down this much. I mean, a lot of people were really comparing this company to Tesla in the beginning, and we can see I drew a nice trend line on it, and a few videos ago I remember doing this, and it looks like it's bouncing off the trend line perfectly to the downside, which is pretty unfortunate for this stock.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, wait. So what's the level we're watching for NKLA? Just so everyone.
48 to the downside.
48. So I know they're breaking below.
Or 38. That. Sorry, 38.
38 again. 38 to the downside. If it breaks below that, we'll be looking at NKLA in a bearish sense. And I do know some big things are happening with NKLA in the market this week. I know that a lot of the people that got in before this company became public, I know they are finally able to share or sell their shares this week. I didn't dive too deep into this topic, but I know that I know there's going to be a lot of selling pressure with NKLA this week. So consider looking at this for a short. And as you guys can already see, NKLA is gapping down pretty bad. They're down to they hit lows of about $38 in after hours on Friday, but right now are sitting at about $42. So keep that in mind. Keep an eye on NKLA to the downside. So now for today's unusual options activity. And we are looking at the AZN 65 strike call options that expire this week, July 24th. And there was a total of about $2.2 million put into this play. So AZN is skyrocketing up, has a ton of upwards momentum. So this can be a great play. It's the AZN 65 straight call options that expire this week, July 24th. There's about $2.2 million put into that play. All right. So now for the comments from the previous episode. With the first comment, we have Skeezy saying, "Hey guys, I love your technicals. You're always on point. I wanted to get your take on Dell. They jumped up 12% midweek, and the PE is at about 10, but they are getting close to their all-time high. So what do we think of Dell, Tom?"
Yeah, let me go on a long-term daily chart here. Yeah, I see this. They did have a big gap up, and it looks like that they could start filling this long-term gap over here, and they could potentially head back up towards like $65, maybe even $70 a share if they do continue with this momentum. I do like that momentum to the upside. I wonder what catalyst they had. I know that there had to have been some kind of key catalyst with Dell for it to go up that much, but that's a big rise on it. And I do love Dell for the long term. The thing is that it is getting a little high maybe for shares. So right now I might stick to call options on it, but it is one of those companies that are good for the long term. But as we could see, it's been pretty volatile lately, going from $70 all the way down to 25 and then back up to 60. So it looks like it's recovered very nicely though from the corona and even past its highs.
Right. Yeah. So Dell popped on. Remember that last week time? It was the VMware spinoff.
That's right, VMware. Okay.
Yeah, VMware, and then they also got upgraded too. So that's why Dell popped. So I mean, to answer his question, I mean it seems like Dell has a lot of upwards potential, but they do have some major resistance levels right now. They are approaching major resistance levels around $62.50. That's a major one, and also the tech sector is rotating down, and also earnings is approaching for Dell. So to answer your question, I mean I feel like there is upside potential, but I just don't love the setup. That's just me.
Yeah, it's probably going to start moving a little slower now since it had this big day. It'll probably start consolidating and having a more slower like stair step up.
Yep, exactly, exactly. With the next question we have, so we have CT saying great info and channel, guys. Just started watching and following. I appreciate everything you guys do. This is not a stock question, but is there a good laptop or computer that you recommend for trading, or maybe have any certain criteria for choosing one? So, Tom, I'll definitely let you cover this one.
Yeah, I actually like to use a website called newegg.com, and they have a ton of tech stuff on here, like computers and stuff. And you guys can look through a whole bunch of different like laptops and computers. But as far as like specific laptops, I really like companies like MSI, Razer, Aorus. Those are some gaming laptops that people use. Like this would be a pretty good one right here. It's pretty expensive though. You know, these laptops and computers start getting pretty expensive, especially once you start getting into the better ones. But yeah, I mean, really just any type of laptop that has over, 8 gigs of RAM or 16 gigs of memory. As some people call it RAM, some people call it memory. But as long as it has good RAM, a decent graphics card, and a decent processor, it will be good. But as far as any specific laptop, that's solely going to depend on your price range.
Yep, for sure. So with the next question, we have Learn to Swim saying, hey guys, new subscriber and Discord member here. I love what you're doing. Can you do some analysis on ASML for me, please? Been watching and I feel like maybe short term it could go down, but long term it could go up. Will you give some input for this, please? So ASML, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that definitely for the short term, it could go down. It looks like it's one of those holding companies. I don't know exactly what they're into, but it looks like their earnings have been really good lately. You can see they were all the way back up to $2 per share on their earnings the last time they reported. Whenever they reported, earnings the last go around, they were at around $1 per share. So, yeah, they've definitely been growing since the virus, which is good to see. And they have a ton of volume right now. I could definitely see them going down in the short term as well. It's just another one of those plays that they're at like all-time highs right now, and it looks like it might follow the tech sector. So it looks like it could end up going down if we see the tech sector go down as well.
Absolutely. And with the last comment, we have Alexandros saying, awesome channel, always straight to the point with informative technical analysis to back up the claim. Mike and Tom, I've been using triangle breakouts on Apple, and they have been working exquisitely. I currently have a short put spread on Apple at $377.50 with an 80% probability of profit. Do you consider that an aggressive or safer spread? So Apple, $377.50. I think that's a pretty. I think that's a pretty safe spread. I wouldn't I wouldn't put too much into it given the nature of the risk to reward ratios on credit spreads. However, I really, really like that setup, and I trade a lot of setups like that. I traded a credit spread on Tesla last week, call credit spread on Tesla last week. It was the 1880 strike calls, and it was the 1880 strike calls and the 1885 strike calls, and that worked out perfectly. But I really like the setup you have going here. I wouldn't put an A plus rating on it, like in terms of safety. However, I think that's a really, really great spread. Yeah, I really like the play, and I think there's a good risk reward ratio there, given the probability of profit. So I really like the play. So, Tom, with that being said, do you have any last minute stocks, options, or anything to watch out for in the market this week?
Yeah, still the big stock that I'm going to be watching this week is going to be SPCE. It seems like no matter what happens in the market, this stock is going to be the hot one to watch. Looks like it really is turning back to the upside in after hours on Friday as well. So I'm definitely going to be looking for this one to have a strong open on Monday.
Yep, absolutely. So thank you guys so much for watching this video to the end. Tom and I really appreciate all the support you guys give to the channel through the form of hitting that like button, subscribing, and commenting. The comments and likes help so much, and we are so grateful for all of you guys. Thank you guys so much for everything. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button. If you guys want to trade the same exact options that Tom and I trade every single week, click the Stocked Up Options Alerts link in the description down below. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.